What is good, everybody? What is good is Big Game James in the house. You know how we do. And guess what? I got a special guest today, Mr. BJ Nix of the Star Game. He brought me on a long time. Well, it wasn't even that long ago, but we kicked it on the late night after session. So I said, you know what? I got to get my man on here. And so we can talk some Cowboys football because things at least the record is bad, but things at least been looking up the last 2 weeks on effort and things of that nature. So at least we can at least see a little bit of a silver lining. But what's up with you, big dog?
Man, living life. Appreciate the hospitality that you're bringing me on over here. And yeah, I like what you said there. The winds ain't coming, but boy, it's trending in the right direction the past couple of weeks.
Right. That I mean, and like I said, we can look at it. It's not good, but what we've been complaining about the beginning of the season, none. Where's the effort? Where's what's really going on?
Right.
And we've been frustrated. Cowboys media like it was like, okay, we went from this to this. And one of the notoriously worst defenses in Cowboys history. It looks like it's coming up. So that's what I'm getting excited about. And plus, it also looks like once they remove Poe, Worley, and Everson Griffin, it looks like things have changed. What's your thoughts on that right quick?
Well, once I saw Griffin, and I know you've seen this from me on Twitter and everywhere else. Once I saw Griffin get blocked by Baker Mayfield, I'm like, he got to go.
Right.
You got to go, big dog. If Baker Mayfield's blocking you, I really don't know how much you can really help us out here, And then, of course, always we were looking at, we're talking about the effort. We're looking at the all-22 tape and Poe just not really giving us much. Then all of a sudden we had the anonymous sources come out and start saying a little this, a little that. And all of a sudden they said, well, let's get rid of some of this dead weight. And you know what? As soon as they got rid of some of this dead weight, the past 2 weeks, the defense is looking a lot better. And now we're hearing things, all this defense is gelling. We're figuring things out. So, yeah, I mean, sometimes no matter what we feel, here's how I always feel when it comes to professional sports or sports in general, whatever level you play at.
Mm-hmm.
If you make a move here and there and get rid of some guys in that locker room that's going around, everybody else's ears kind of go up a little bit and say, okay, all right, they're not going to just sit here. We can kind of talk about maybe a previous staff that would just let things continuously roll and not really make a move or not. And they're like, no. We're going to get some of you guys up out of here. And I think that makes everybody else in the locker room say, okay, we can't just keep doing the status quo because they will get rid of our ass. Excuse my language on that one.
No, you can. I go hammer time on mine, so you definitely good on that. Let me give a few shout outs to people that's jumping in the building, big dog, and then I'm gonna expand upon what you just said. Shout out to my dog Adam Casanova, my members, Ready Red, Adam, T Smooth TV, Rue Glock, what's up with you? Lord Nova, 85, how you doing? Like I said, Ready Red, Eastside Harold, you a goofy, but I love you. Dirk W, what up? Devontae Griffin, keep on coming in the house. I think that's one of the biggest things that you said to me. With the old regime, with Jason Garrett, we saw that if they didn't like a player or things weren't going right, that player was still going to continue to keep playing. They were still going to be in the system. They were going to make it the whole year, and then we were just going to have to deal with it. Now, because I've been already on the Joneses, so I ain't going to go ham on them right now. But I will say that McCarthy has come in, so I will say that he had to have a little bit influence on that because the old regime, they would have stayed. Now, before half of the season, they're like, you know what? And they made a good move. I will give the Joneses credit. They got rid of Everson Griffin, got a pick out of it. Now you didn't hurt your team because he's gone, he's older, and Randy Gregory comes right in. And we've already seen a difference with Randy Gregory on the field these last 2 weeks, especially yesterday. That was his best game this year so far. He's only been, active a few games, but he had 5 pressures, 4 hurries. When I watched that, I watched a little bit of all 22 tape today, and he was putting a lot of pressure on Ben. Ben was getting ball that quick because
I was going to say forced that hold too on Ebron when Ebron was trying to get out. He ducked inside the Ebron, had to hold him and got that penalty as well too.
Yes. And he also did a move on that offensive tackle where he did that quick swim move and laid out Ben. I love that one, dog. And, it gets you excited because I know Alden Smith has been doing this thing. Hell of a comeback for being out the league. My guy Brandon Tucker trained him. Hell of a job for what he's done. But I don't know. Randy Gregory, DeMarcus Lawrence, Randy Gregory, Gallimore, Antoine Woods. I'm liking that. But are they going to switch that? I don't know. Do you think they'll stay with that Alden Smith starting and bringing Randy Gregory slowly off the bench, or how do you think they'll fade that?
I think, at the end of the day, and what we kind of talked about the post game last night a little bit was, we're just seeing Gregory back 2 games in, and we see a big jump from the first week to the second week, right? And kind of what's coming on. That's why I've always been real big in his corner and saying, man, if we ever get this guy on the field, what he can bring to the table in the 4-3. And of course, if we're trying to make that position, that switch on defense to the 3-4, we saw him in Nebraska. He can stand up and kind of do those things, right? I still think you got to bring him along slowly. I mean, be clear. I mean, he was just, working at the warehouse for Amazon, right? Making $15 an hour.
Right.
We don't want to put too much on him too soon. I still think you let him come forward. But right now, I do like the mix, though. One of the things we talked about in the season, James, was, man, there was too much shifting back up there. We're shuttling guys in and out way too much. There was too much going on. And I think they've kind of found the past couple of weeks a nice, good little bit of a balance for these guys to get in there and be effective. So I like where it is right now with the defensive line, and even playing with some of the 5 linemen and stuff like that. I think that's a recipe that's working for the teams now to maybe throw the ball a little bit more. Now we got to get these guys in the secondary. Woods, dear God, Woods was so cooked yesterday. But, I mean, I want to see maybe Reggie Robinson get in there. My biggest thing was, if we're going to lose, I'm fine with that. Play the young guys, right? And we're seeing that now, because early on it was, well, Gallimore's he's a ways away learning the defense and everything. And we've seen him get some snaps last week and this week, and we're seeing him come on. So we're seeing these young guys that wasn't here early get here now and starting to make some plays, which is something to be excited for.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, we've all was frustrated, but like I said, last 2 weeks, I think, it looks like coaches maybe have been listening to the players. When I heard DeMarcus Lawrence come out yesterday, he said the coaches put him in a really good position to really excel. So one thing I will say about this staff, once again, it seems like they don't sit on their hands and say, well, this is just what it is, and we're going to roll with it. I mean, we saw Darryl Worley, when he got cooked, he got benched. We saw Darian Thompson, who they were saying was better than Ha Dixie, got beat on a touchdown. He got benched. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Jalen Smith is the first time he hasn't played all game. Sean Lee took some of his snaps. So we see that they will make changes if necessary to make it work across the board. The only problem is y'all make all these damn changes, but you keep Terrence Steele starting right tackle.
Steele. I mean, here's the thing with, when it comes to the tackle position. Actually, I'm going to ask you a question in a second too, Jim, see what you think about this. But, I mean, we're a 4th, 5th, 6th. I mean, they just don't grow on trees. I mean, they're obviously Steele's this guy he wants to see. And I will at least say this. He still has improved some. I'm not saying it's meteoric or anything, but some. But yeah, oh man, still, man, that's always going to be a little bit of a head scratcher. But I wanted to ask you this though, James. Even though it's your show, I want to ask you a question.
No, I don't care what the hell. Let's go.
Because I kind of talked about this last night as well, and see what your thoughts are. I said, at the end of the day, everybody, we looked at the roster, right? And we said, okay, we're getting this coach coming in here, and he is a hard-nosed kind of guy and whatnot. And, and everything's like, well, this is going to take off. I mean, no one was going to predict what kind of injuries we're going to have, how this defense is going to gel, in this COVID, off-season or training camp era with no preseason games, right? But I think what we're starting to see is, because the big thing we've always talked about is the culture within the building of the Cowboys. And I think what we're seeing right now over the past 2-3 weeks as we're leading into this thing, he's battling almost a decade worth of culture with what's been here. And I think we're starting to see, or do you feel like you're starting to see maybe Mike McCarthy put his imprint on this team now with the culture, maybe changing the culture some?
I do. Like I said, here was my frustration about all this, big dog, is everybody wanted to fire Mike McCarthy after these 4 or 5 games. That just really frustrated me. Like, we had 10 years of Jason Garrett. Let's give Mike McCarthy a little bit more time, because as you said, Mike McCarthy didn't come in regular circumstances. It was COVID year. Nothing has been regular about this. And yes, there have been other teams that had new coaching staffs and they had to do it too, but they don't have the Joneses. You feel me? So it's a whole different world when you're dealing with the Joneses than other organizations. You got the Joneses on top of COVID, no really time to really get to know your team. And as I said this before, big dog, this is Jason Garrett's players still.
Right.
These aren't Mike McCarthy's players. Mike McCarthy didn't draft anybody in here. He didn't, really didn't pick him. Maybe had some people, on the free agent tip, had his hand on, maybe I like this guy, but they aren't his guys. So this 2020 draft was his. So let's play your guys so we can see what's really going on. I do think there is a shift in my opinion, because I feel like the Joneses are letting him do a little more, and I feel like the reason why they're letting him do a little more, in my opinion, is because he holds a ring, and when he went to championships, he went to consistently playoffs. I feel like they'll back off maybe just a little bit with him because Jason Garrett didn't have nothing.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? Jason Garrett came in green as hell. So they were going to put their fingers all in this. I will say that it looks like they're saying, hey, okay, we brought you in here to be the guy. We'll back off a little bit and see how it goes. So I do think that they are doing that a little bit in that aspect and allow Mark McCarthy to do his thing. Because if you can't let the coach be the coach and run this team without always being over top of it, we're always going to keep on going in that same circle, BJ.
Yeah, no, it's true, and I like what you said there as far as Jason Garrett goes. I mean, he was basically learning on the job. That's just kind of what it was. And, as compared to this guy who Jason Garrett coached against in the playoffs, you saw this coach beat your team in the playoffs, right, and everything. So he has a little bit more of that clout to come in here and do things. And it's kind of some of the things I pointed out during the offseason and some of the player acquisition and some of the draft picks and stuff. We didn't hear about this argument of, well, this guy wanted this guy, this guy wanted this guy, a la say Taco or TJ Watt, right? Or, okay, well, we want Tristan Hill or Juan Thornhill. There's this big argument. We didn't hear that. We didn't hear that kind of stuff, right? It's like CeeDee Lamb's on the board. Mike McCarthy said, yes, take him, right? And those kinds of things. So that kind of helped, see he was a little bit more in control then. Now, once the bullets started firing and here we go and different things are happening, now it's like, everyone's going to need you. Because, again, as I call it, the post-Garrett traumatic syndrome.
Right.
Just automatically like, here we are. It's the same. Nothing's changed. Here it is. And, this isn't
I fell into it.
I think we all did.
I fell into it too. I can't say I didn't.
Yeah, no, I think we all did. And I think, the thing about it is this ain't Madden. We can't just go sign some free agents, make a couple of trades, and then boom, our team's so much better. We're just going to play better. It just has to take time. And I think, amongst the injuries and how competitive we're playing with these injuries, I think says a lot about him. And I do, that's why I want to ask your thoughts on it. I do think the culture's starting to change in here with him and what he's doing right now.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I feel you on that. Like I said, this is a totally weird year. I like to see him when you got a whole off season, a full training camp, a rookie camp, a mini camp. I like to see when you're able to, not have to worry about all these outside surroundings. So yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. And you know what? I saw some life from Mike McCarthy too, which I liked.
He was fired up.
And that's what I wanted to see, because one thing I liked about Mike McCarthy, because he was a fired up type coach when he was over at Green Bay. Like, you never saw him wince his words or anything like that. I was like, man, show me some of that sideline, some of on the sideline, big dog, because I like when you do it. And he was a lot more animated this game. He was putting his hand out there. What the hell is going on? Not saying that, I need my coach to do that every week, but I do need to see the fire from the coach sometimes, because it does, to me, it riles up the team. I played the game. You play. When you have your coach that's in it and fighting for you, it makes you want to be out there like, yeah, man, it makes you want to go out there and fight more. My opinion on that one.
No, I agree. I completely agree. At a certain point, it makes you feel like the coach actually has your back. Once you're given the effort, and we're seeing the effort given, now you're seeing McCarthy come alive on the sidelines. And look, and shout out to him. No, I'm not going to be animated when you're giving me shit effort. Why would I want to? But you're fighting and you're battling for me right now. Absolutely. And you're right. Anytime you got the coach to go to bat for you like that, it makes you want to come up and fight harder for that guy. So I'm with you there, 110. Even, with the Juju trying to get and do the remake the TL.
I was loving that.
Yeah, Gregory took the penalty, knocked it out of his hand. You had Woods as the bodyguard coming right down the middle. Absolutely. Look, I'm taking that penalty 10 times out of 10. In this game of football, for sure. So, yeah, definitely. Maybe old tough man Mike's, old Pennsylvania tough man Mike's starting to rub off on these guys a little bit.
Hope so. I hope so, because like you said, that made me feel good. I didn't get to see the end of it until the game, but the fact that, Juju was going to try to do that, and I love how Randy slapped that ball out of his hand like, nah, you ain't doing that. And then they try to play it like James Conner told Juju, no, he didn't. You can talk on that field, and they can talk. And when the way Antoine Woods was sliding across there, I know he was like, no, you ain't. No, you ain't. No, you ain't. So it wasn't no damn James Conner saying, oh, you know what, Juju, just chill. No, it wasn't. It was Antoine Woods saying, if you're going to do this, it's going to be a problem.
Right.
And I love the way he was sliding too. He was sliding to the
Yeah, let him
sideline.
know.
No, don't even try, dog. I already see what you're trying to do. Don't even try to go there. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I really appreciate that. And that's the fight that we want to see. I don't hate on Jalen, but I don't want to see that swipe when it's just a regular play. Let me see some of that kind of stuff, and that's cool. You know what I mean? But let's talk about this Pittsburgh game, because that was that was a frustrating. It was a good game as far as the way the team played, but it was so frustrating with the penalties. Oh my God, I'm not blame the ref guy.
Me
I'm
either.
really not. I'm not that guy. Like, I don't do that, because to me that's weak sauce. But damn, dog.
At a certain point, you gotta call a spade, though.
Jeez.
Here's a couple of non-calls to me that I thought were impactful. The screenplay, right? And he throws it over the top. It's a blatant, it's easy. They had offensive linemen 8, 9, 10 yards down the field. You got to throw the flag there. And then, I know the interception in the end zone from Double G. It's a bad look, but here's what he did. And he did what a veteran quarterback is supposed to do. I got my guy. I see he's held. I throw the ball where he's held. I get that penalty. That's why he was so animated. That, no, there's the flag. We're good. We're good. And they didn't call the hold on Amari. I mean,
yeah, that was bad. And when you could see it, I mean, when it was happening live, I said, "What, they ain't calling that, dog?" And it's sad with us, because anytime we get any kind of positive plays, BJ, my first thing, and I don't know if you do this, but you probably do. First time we get any kind of big gain, 20-yard gain, 30-yard gain, first thing I'm doing is, where's the flag?
Where's the flag?
Where is the flag? And guess what? And it's so sad, because when we were doing a live broadcast, me and Law, right? And we were saying, man, Dallas needs to get a big turnover. This is the time we need to get a big turnover. And then we got the sack. Okay. Sack fumble with Granny Hips Crawford. He gets the
Hey, Granny Hips got that block on the field goal too. Granny Hips was out there swerving, baby. Oh, damn it. Granny, I wasn't ready for the Granny Hips Crawford. You got me, damn it.
Granny Hips Crawford and one leg Smith. That's what I call him. One leg woo.
Yeah. He was moving that one leg down the sideline, trying to get there. He was working it. I was like, you knew. I saw that flag. I saw that flag hit though, and I was like,
I already knew. It was like, seriously, dog. And then when they had the when he had the long pass and it was 3rd and 10, and I was like, yes, but I was like, it's too good to be true for them to get 3 and out and for us to get the ball back. And then you go, and what made me so mad about it, BJ, that flag took forever. I was like, okay, I'm waiting. I don't see it. I think oh my God.
Well, and the thing too was, look, I know letter of the law, you can't hit him in the face. I get it. My guy was backwards falling down. I mean, it wasn't intentional. And then, if we're going to keep the same energy, if you will, well, now Double G had a couple of times that his face mask got hit when he was throwing the ball, and we didn't get the same call. I mean, it's always
and Dak got no calls when he was playing. Dak used to get his ass beat up. We could never get a call for him, but everything else in their mama getting calls, and I'm like, nobody's trying to cry about these refs, but damn it, look at this game. This is crazy. This is not making any sense. And it's like every time we're trying to get ahead, y'all want to jump in our face, and we at home and we still ain't getting no calls, man. That's just wild as hell to me that this continues to happen. And they need to look at this stuff with these refs, man. Y'all got to be consistent across the board, because it's not like these refs don't get paid some good damn money. Man, they get paid. Them refs get paid damn good money. So make the calls. You feel me? I got my guy Dirk W. Shout out to you for the 199 holler. It says, seems like Jalen is always late to the ball. And I think the biggest thing that we say, well, I'm gonna tell you right now, I ain't never been excited about Sean Lee the last few years. I've been ready for him to go. Okay. But you know what? When they said they were activating him, I was excited. I said, because I need a brain out there. Not saying LVE is not a good brain. I love the way LVE plays. He just got to stay healthy. But it just looks like Jalen needed that extra brain out there to help him, because I just don't feel like he has the highest football IQ. Just my opinion. I just don't think he's an athletic demon, and especially the way he's come back. But he just doesn't have the greatest football IQ to me, and that's why he gets fooled on simple plays and things of that nature. And he can only do so much. But what's your thoughts of, the statement that was just made. What are your thoughts about Jalen Smith as a whole, just him as a player? A lot of people are saying, let's do a post-June cut on him. Let's get out of this contract. Do you think he should be a linebacker that the Cowboys keep for the future, or do you think he should get cut?
I think, at the end of the day, I think the biggest thing is, you go back to his Notre Dame tape, right? And the way that they played him to let him just kind of freelance, I almost not the same player, kind of like the Honey Badger, right? Tyrann Mathieu, right? Like he's not your true to life safety, but you put him in positions to let him run and go see and go do and go make plays and free him. Not that he doesn't have assignments, but I mean, you kind of free him up to freelance and use his natural ability. And some of that, when they talked about that in the offseason, hey, we're going to free Jalen up. We're going to have him, blitz more than what he's been doing before and whatnot. And now due to injuries, he wasn't allowed to do those things. So we're kind of seeing. I think it's a wait and see for me. Yeah, there's certain things that frustrate you. You make a tackle 5 yards down the field, you're doing the swipe. I'm like, okay, my guy, I don't really need to see that right now.
Right.
Make a sack and then maybe give me a swipe, right? And I get it. He is leading the league, or he was. I don't have to look this week. I know he was leading the league in tackles, but it's like, yeah, but he's making him 7, 8, 19 yards down the field, and he's, just different things like that. I mean, I don't know. I got to see him the rest of the way. And we're getting the linebackers back healthy. Can be in a position to free him up to go blitz the quarterback and build that, quote unquote, gun backer they used to call him in Notre Dame that way and play it out. I'd say it's too soon to give up and cut him right now, because now you're getting healthy front, you're getting healthy linebackers. So let's see, the original plan that they had for him, can that come along, and can he fulfill that potential and what they want him from this defensive coordinator?
Yeah, I don't think he gets moved, because that's a Jerry Jones feel-good story. That's a Jerry Jones move. That was a Jerry Jones type pick. Yeah. So if he stay with Randy Gregory this damn long, do we really think when Jerry Jones puts his hand on a pick, he's just going to say, I made the mistake? And, no, he's not. Jalen Smith ain't going nowhere, in my opinion. That's just me. I just feel like, he's not that. I think he's a secondary guy. I don't think he's the man. I think if you took our linebackers right now, I would take LVE and then Jalen, because I just feel like when Jalen is playing the secondary role and other people are leading and he doesn't have to do that and he can just play football, I feel like he's better. When he doesn't have to put everything on him, when he has to make the calls and everybody is like, okay, let's go, Jalen. I just don't think he's the guy to do it. And I know he's jumped out there and said he wanted to be that guy, but just because you jump out there and say you are that guy, I'm the leader, I'm the new guy on the words don't, it's the play on the field. It's not the words, it's the play on the field. And right now, that play on the field doesn't match you being the guy. And there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe they need to figure out that salary, but there's nothing wrong with you not being the man, but you can still be a piece in the cog. Because my opinion is this. I don't want to cut him for the fact that I don't want to lose an active linebacker. That means we have to go back into the draft and get surplus of linebackers. Linebacker is one of the worries I don't want to have to be freaking worrying about going into this draft. You get what I'm saying? I don't want to have to worry about that. So that's why I would keep him. Maybe you can see how you can maybe do something with that salary. But the main thing is he's just, that's what he is. I don't think Jalen's ever going to be the guy that can get in that hole and shed the block and do all. I just don't believe he's that guy. He's just going to be the secondary guy. And that's great he gets hella tackles, because it does help us, but it don't help us when you're getting 5-6 yard down the field tackles. I mean, yeah, it looks great in the stat sheet when you get 15, 16 tackles, but were they impactful tackles? One of the reasons why we love Sean Lee was because in that game against the Giants a while back, when he had that 20-21 tackle game, one thing we loved about that game, BJ, was that he was recognizing and seeing the plays before they happened. He was meeting those plays in the hole. He was hitting those guys. And that's what you were loving about it. That's what Jalen Smith does not do, and that's why he has to be a secondary guy, in my opinion. And Jamal made a point, and I've been saying this. I believe he plays away from that leg because he doesn't want to get hurt again. And a lot of times I'll see him move away from that leg to shed the block, but he don't want that pressure to come on that leg, because I don't think he wants anything to happen to that leg, because he probably thinks if something happens to his leg, my career could be over.
That's very true. I mean, he's got paid, and probably even the more secondary reason where he's not going to get cut is he sells sunshades and he sells jerseys.
Yes. And we know that, and we know this is a business, and Jerry and them ain't never going to let go of that, especially Jerry. Steven will probably cut you because he don't got the love for you, but at the end of the day, he cheap as hell, so that's a whole nother subject.
Yeah, no doubt.
You feel me? But They talked in the news today, big dog. Steven was in the news today, and a lot of people have been talking about it in the feed. Let me get your opinion on it. He came out there and said, you know what, Andy Dalton will be good to come back, and when he comes back, he's going to be the starter. And GG, he played great, but you know what, he's going back to the bench, and Dalton is going to be the starter. What's your thoughts on that? Dalton hasn't been impressive since he's been there. GG had a good game against a pretty good Steelers defense, one of the top ranked defense in the league right now. He showed poise and composure. What was your feelings about that? Do you go back to Andy Dalton, or do you stick with GG?
I would stick with GG. I said it immediately on the post game last night. Even and here's my reasoning: Dalton's not going to be here. He was a 1-year rental, and the idea of Dalton here, and for any folks that are in here that thought, oh well, they got Dalton. If he ever gets a chance, he's going to take off because he's better than Dak. I'm sorry, we've seen that. We know what it is.
That was proven. That was proven wrong.
It was proven wrong. Yeah, not everyone can play with these guys, okay? And the thing with Andy was the insurance policy we never had. Hey, look, if Dak goes down for a couple of weeks, Andy can hold this thing together till Dak gets back, right, and move on. Well, now the ultimate thing happened to Dak where we're not going to get him back. Andy's not going to be here next year. But we have an opportunity the rest of the way to see if Double G can be the backup quarterback for this team moving forward. So for me, look, they're going to say we're still in this thing, right? You know, we're right there. No one's running off with it. You got a chance to go do it. We've talked about, hey, if Double G plays last week, we probably win that game. But at the end of the day, for me, you play Double G to see what you got moving forward. I know they're not going to talk in those realms because they want to keep the locker room engaged and different things like that. But for the betterment of this team moving forward, playing Andy Dalton doesn't do anything for you at all. He's going to be gone next year. We wish you well in your future endeavors. You know, it just didn't work out. You know, that got hurt too long, and now it has to go back to, can GG be that guy and be our long-term solution for a backup quarterback?
I'm gonna go with you on that because I was going back and forth. Like, should we go with Dalton? Should we go with GG because that was one game? Okay, that was one game. You know, he could fall on his face next game. Andy Dalton is proven in this league. He has done a lot more than GG's done. He's won games. He hasn't won any playoff games, but he's won games as a starter, plenty games as a starter. So my thought was, you know what, probably go back to Dalton because he is the guy that you brought in. But to your point, that's where I say, you know what, Dalton ain't going to be here. He's on a 1-year deal, and he ain't coming back to no backup position again. He's going to want to start somewhere. That's just what it is. He wanted to start before. He didn't want to get benched at Cincinnati no matter what. He was pissed off about it, and that's why he requested to get traded or cut so he could find somewhere where he could play. So he's not going to, in my opinion, want to sit back there and say, I'm going to be the backup the next 2 or 3 years. He's going to want to start a position and fight for one. So that's the only thing where I would say, you know what, let's see what we have in GG. But Stephen Jones and them, I think in their head, they're thinking we're still in this. And until we're mathematically out of these playoffs, we're going to play everybody we need to win this game. And I feel like they're doing that to save face. They're saving face with that because they don't want to look like we're tanking. They don't want to look like to the media that we're tanking or anything like that. So you would go back to him because he's the guy that's won more. So we'll kind of see how that pans out. But I don't know how long of a leash Andy Dalton has now. You get what I'm saying? Because we've seen GG play, so I don't know how long the leash is now. It may have been longer before, but now you've seen a little bit of the product against a good team. Now I don't feel my leash will be as long as Dalton. So if you're struggling early, I'm gonna just go ahead and pull the plug. And once I pull the plug on you again, it's over for you the rest of the year.
Right? Yeah. You know, and the one thing too, if we're just breaking down, tape and looking and stuff, out the gate, 3rd and 3, first drive, GG over the top to Cooper. And I'm like, I said, okay, this kid's got a little moxie to him.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't scared to throw the ball. The one thing about Dalton, definitely was worried and eyes were down and not being out and about, and he was captain check down and stuff. GG to me was able to deliver the ball more than just little dump offs here and there. To me, I think just beyond seeing if he can be the backup long term here. I think one game, and you're right, he could go out this next game and fall flat on his face. But we look at the actual competition he played against in the Steelers and how well he played. I think low key, small sample size, he might give you a better chance to win. The team seemed to rally around him. He had command of the huddle and telling people, Zeke, no, get over here. He had command of this thing. So at the end of the day, you might actually have a better chance of winning with GG than you actually do with Andy Dalton.
Yeah, I feel you with that. And especially when they were going on the sidelines, it looked like the offense, because, when we saw that Washington game, how Andy Dalton went off on the offensive line, and next time they came back, you got your head busted open, and they were all looking at you like, hey, you just was talking trash about us, gonna get your own ass up yourself. Maybe they was thinking that. But like I said, you seen GG come in there, and he had a lot of command control. And what's so crazy about it is I'm a University of Texas fan, so I seen Garrett Gilbert back in the day when what's our little quarterback that's over there with I can't remember his name. It's just losing my name right now. Little tiny little quarterback, Colt McCoy.
Oh yeah.
When we had Colt McCoy and he got hurt in that championship game early, Garrett Gilbert came in there and played pretty good as a true freshman. And he didn't end up staying there, but you played in the AFF. You showed poise over there. I'm with you, dog. I just feel like they're gonna say we're gonna stay with Dalton until we're all the way out of it. But I think Mike McCarthy, in my opinion, is still gonna have that hand on that leash, because we've seen Danny Dalton look like a totally different player from Cincinnati over here. He looks spooky as hell. You know what I'm saying? He looked spooky as hell. Garrett Gilbert came in there. He didn't look spooky. And one thing I was really impressed with Gilbert was how he stood in that pocket.
Stood tall. Yeah.
Can you agree with me? Did he not stand tall in that pocket? And he was getting hella pressures that game.
And would climb the pocket too. A lot of young guys in their first starts, their tendency is to fall back, fade back. Not that he didn't fade back some here and there, but for the most part, he would climb the pocket. Things again, those just little things that I saw from him, not giving up on plays and reached out, on that last drive, the second to last drive, and he still gets it out to Zeke anyways. No clue how he got that out. Just athletically, he gives you more than Dalton, and he doesn't see the ghost. And it looks like Dalton, and maybe those last few years in Cincy gave him the happy feet. He sees the ghost no matter what. And we know Steele, back to your boy Steele over there, he knows Steele's over there playing right tackle. And he's just like, okay, 1-2, man. Where's my
1-2 go. And I like that he already knows. Steele, you a liability, dog. You done given up 7 sacks. You got 32 pressures now, dog. Yeah. So he sees that. And just like my dog, hey, shout out to you, Bluff City. He jumped on in here, Bluff City Cowboys. How you doing today? He said he was surprised by his mobility, and I was too. He was the leading rusher for a little bit. He had like 3 carries for 28 yards, and I was liking it because he wasn't sitting there in that pocket forever. He saw that rush. It's not working. Go. I like that. Steven, I put Gigi back in. Go gadget.
And the other thing too is this, and somebody brought up, and I'll get your opinion on this. I think going forward for the rest of this year, I think there's a big decision needs to be made in-house. And that big decision for me, for Mike McCarthy, is what do you do with Kellen Moore? Period. Look, I think Kellen Moore called a good game overall. I think Kellen Moore is a pretty decent play caller. A lot of people, and the Jones is still in the snake oil. Oh, look at Sean McVay, and he's going to come in and do these things. However, what we do suffer for, once we get to that 35, 30 on in, there's always just this weird ass clunky play call out of nowhere that he decides to call that the offense will be cooking. It'll be moving right along down the field, and he's like, it gets too cute, however you want to kind of coin that, right? And this time it was a double screen to the backup tight end. Like, what are we doing? Like, why are we trying to do those kinds of things? Or, last week, here's a reverse out of nowhere. Different things that he tries to do from that 35, 30 on in that kind of, stumps the toes on these drives, and we end up kicking field goals and whatnot. And for me, as an experienced play caller that Mike McCarthy is, I'm not saying he needs to take the play calling away from Mr. Moore. What I'm saying is he needs to, for sure, get his hands on him and help him develop him as a play caller. Because, at the end of the day, right, he's only been up for 16 and 8, 9 games now. So 20, 27, 28-ish style games. I need to see Mike McCarthy help him grow in that 35 on in. When we get into that scoring range, I think he needs him to help him out a lot more with some of these gimmick plays that he just started in those areas.
I will feel you on that. I'm a guy. I'm sorry. A lot of people hate on Kellen Moore. I don't. I don't hate on him. I think he's a good play call. Yeah. I'm just saying a lot of people be hating on him, saying he's trash and all that. And I'm not going to agree with that, because you come in your first year. I'm not saying he's perfect by any damn mean. Am I saying that? No. But what I am saying is last year he took the reins as a first year, and there was bumps in the road, but you still had a top offense all year. You had a top offense all year as a first year. You're not going to be perfect. McVay hasn't been perfect. All these other coordinators, everybody wants to be the next Sean McVay. Let's let him just be the next Kellen Moore, dog. Stop comparing him to everybody else and just let him call his game. And before the season was out, we was averaging 30-something a game before Dak went out. So it ain't like our offense was tanked. We had a high-powered offense again this year. We just didn't. You can't tell me, BJ, that if our defense had stepped up while Dak was there, we couldn't have been having a better record because we could score on anybody. We could get the ball. This was one of the first times in a long time since when Romo was back there. This year I was feeling like, okay, well, if we get down, we can come back. You know what I'm saying? We got the offense that we can come back and score on you. We can quick strike you. We can go after you. We can get them points. And it was proven. Okay. And I know we had the bumps in the road, but you also had Ben DiNucci starting. We saw what the hell that was. You know what I'm saying? You seen deer in the headlights, Dalton. You feel me? So we seen what that was like. And now you get a Garrett Gilbert, and he's a fourth string. You're on your damn fourth string quarterback. And I'm sorry. That was a damn good called game for a four-string quarterback against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So my thing is, just like you said, McCarthy, maybe get your hands on him when we get near that 20. Don't do that. Don't do that. Maybe jump over and don't do that. We trying to get this. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I want Kellen Moore to stay, and I think he can continue to grow, and I think him and McCarthy can continue to grow. And we get Dak back, I think we're still going to be cooking on the offense, and it's going to continue to get better. Just my opinion on Kellen Moore.
Yeah, like I said, again, from where we get the ball to that 35-30, I have no issues with his play calling for the most part. I think he does a good job. It's just he gets a little too cute. Maybe some of the Garrett rubbed off on him in that 35-30 range, then 20, and even if you go back to last year, a lot of our touchdowns came from outside the 20-yard line. Once we got inside the 20, it was always a weird little play or a weird little penalty, stuff like that. And, again, I think Kellen Moore has tremendous ability to go forward and have a chance to be a head coach in this league. But I think for this team to get where it ultimately wants to go, I think that's something that Mike McCarthy has to work with him being an experienced play caller and whatnot, is to get his hands on Kellen. And like you just said, in that 25, and he's wanting to call, let's not do that.
Yeah,
get your hand off the zone. Get your hand off the zone.
Yeah. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Feed Zeke Paul here. Don't do that. Don't do this right here.
Yeah, don't do that.
It's just that right there. And look, again, he hasn't called 32 games in this league yet.
He's still a young buck, man.
And I tried to tell people when it came to the Sean McVay, I said, go look at what Sean McVay did in the league before he got the head coaching job. Kellen Moore literally went from I'm a backup quarterback to I'm calling plays.
Right. I mean, they threw it in his face. Like, here it is.
You gotta let it work.
gotta give him You gotta give him a little bit of time. And like I said, he's not perfect by any means, but I don't think he's the problem. That's just not my opinion. I don't feel like he's the problem. Now we'll talk about Mike Nolan here in a second. But I definitely don't feel like Kellen Moore is a problem, and I continue to feel like if him and Mike McCarthy stay together, they'll continue to grow. Our offense will continue to get better. We have weapons, so I'm cool with that right now. Let's go with the running back position.
Okay.
Now, I've been very vocal. I'm not the Zeke hater, but I feel like you can't say anything about Ezekiel Elliott. Like, if you say one thing, it's like almost a curse. Don't say nothing about Ezekiel Elliott. I mean, okay, now look, I like Zeke. I've always liked Zeke. And I felt like, I wrote an article, BJ, like about 2 years ago, right when his contract was getting ready to come up. And I wrote an article, and I tell everybody to this day, I had to turn off my Facebook after this article because I was saying, could this be the last we see of Ezekiel Elliott? Because number one, he was going to want high money. Number two, running backs don't last long in the league. And I said it's been proven in the NFL that you can win Super Bowls and games without a top elite running back. It's been proven. So I was like, I wasn't advocating don't pay him. I was like, are they going to pay him? That's what I was saying. A lot of people got frustrated. Now we're here. I said before this game, I wanted to see a heavy dose of Tony Pollard, especially when we thought Zeke was going to play. I said, I just want to finally see what Tony Pollard can look like at a 20-carry game, and he's just the guy. Well, guess what, dog? I mean, I'm not hating Zeke, but you had 18 carries for 53 yards. Tony Pollard had 7 carries for 57 yards. Now, they're going to say, oh, that was just they weren't scheming for Zeke. I don't give a hell. When Tony Pollard seen the hole, he was gone.
Yeah.
He has more burst than Zeke. Zeke is a power back to me now. Zeke is going to still get you them tough inside yards. He busts a 10, maybe 15, but he's not going to go to the house no more. So going forward, what do you think about that situation with Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard? Can we get a mix of them, a 50-50, or is it always going to be Ezekiel's going to be the guy because he makes $15 million a year and he's Ezekiel Elliott?
Well, as I have one rule that I follow on this life of football in the NFL. Follow the check. That's at the end of the day, you follow the check, follow the money. Wherever the money is, I mean, look, just with Jalen Smith, you probably would have saw him already get benched, but you follow the check, you follow the money, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, in looking at like the all 22 tape and stuff like that, and I think my problem with Zeke is he don't press the hole anymore to me. Like he'll get to the hole and he waits and he's always looking maybe for a cutback or I want some contact. He doesn't press the hole as compared to Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard presses the play side where the hole's supposed to be, and then once he's there, he gets through it. And that's just kind of where I look at Zeke over the past years, wherever the play was going, he trusted it, he pressed the hole, and he also will pop out on the other side. As compared to now, Zeke kind of hesitates in the hole. Now, is it because, the hamstring we're hearing about now? Is it because he doesn't trust the guys in front of him blocking for him or whatnot? Could be a mixture of all that. But at the end of the day, at a certain point, you got to go with the high hand.
You're making $15 million a year. I don't give a hell if you trusting them linemen or not. You better run that damn ball. You're getting paid $15 million a year. You're the top paid, one of the top paid running backs in the league. But just what I want to say, this real quick snippet, BJ, is that Ezekiel Elliott is making 15, right? You got McCaffrey, who is the highest paid, and guess what? He's hurt again already. See, that's why they say you don't pay the running back, because McCaffrey, they said, hey, he earned it. He got his money, had the thousand. We get it. But guess what? He's still a running back, and he ain't the biggest dude. He might be strong, but he ain't the biggest dude. And you already seen he got paid. You're getting those carries year in and year out. Your body ain't lasting long when you're getting 300 to 400 carries a year, especially the size of McCaffrey. And you just came back from injury, and you already hurt your shoulder. Now, to me, that's not a good investment when your running back is getting hurt like that, and you paid him $16 million.
Yeah.
Year?
I mean, that's the one thing about, your best ability is availability. And Zeke, for the most part, outside of a little suspension, he's been available. Early in the year, we saw a lot of burst out of him too. Early in the year, we saw some of that burst come back. And, I believe if you're going to pay a running back, he has to be generational, right? He has to be generational. Yes. To me, I thought at the time when we paid him, I felt like Zeke was generational. And look, and you say these kinds of things, lose their mind. I'm like, I'm not saying he's a terrible running back. I think he is a stud running back in the NFL. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But he's not generational.
He ain't no Adrian Peterson.
Right. He's not generational as I once thought. And that's not a bad thing. I mean, Zeke's a great all-pro type of running back. He's just not, as you said, an AP. He's not generational. Got a guy, of course, I can remember towards the end of Emmitt Smith's career, right? And everyone we got to get Hambrick more carries. It's Hambrick time. It's Hambrick time. I mean, look, the best, the most favorite, player is always the backup, and then once you become the man, things happen. But I do believe this, when we're getting running backs into the game, it definitely should be Pollard maybe a little bit more than Zeke, obviously. And I don't know if you ever get a true 50-50, again, 15 million, you talked about it, but maybe there's a way, and there's only so many balls can go around. But yeah, you like to see more from what's coming out of Pollard and what he's been able to do, in these 7 to 10 carries, and kind of see maybe that grow a little bit to maybe 12 touches a game. Maybe can we get him 12 touches a game?
12 touches a game is okay because it opens up the offense. Okay.
Right.
It's just the truth. I mean, no hate on Ezekiel Elliott, but when Tony Pollard it opens up the offense. And when he can get some explosive carries and get 10, he had a 15-yard run, a 20-yard run. I mean, those open up the offense. Then you can bring the Ezekiel Elliott back in and pound a 5-yarder or a 6-yarder or start gashing them. Get Tony Pollard the ball. I'm not saying he needs to get 20 carries, he can get 15. I'm saying that you need, like you said, I like the 12 to maybe around 15. I say 12 carries is good. Maybe get some few passes in the passing game, use them in that aspect. But he has to get into the game because he adds an element to the Dallas Cowboys offense that makes this offense better. Period. Right. Point blank. I don't care what anybody tells me. That's what I feel on that one.
Yeah. The running back that we used to have a couple years ago always stayed hurt, though. And he was kind of the speedy guy. They always wanted to work him in.
That Lance Dunbar.
He's Dunbar, but better maybe.
He's bigger than Dunbar, though.
He's bigger than Dunbar, and he can show he's not getting hurt all the time, and kind of develop that role, And when you talk about Zeke of the 15 million, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. My ladder's about, what's that? Maybe 3 inches there. I don't know. How long is the ladder, guys? We had 2 4th and D's to get 2 4th and D's, and we elected not to go for them. Now, the first one for me, I get it. It's on our side of the field. It's early in the game. You don't want to give any unnecessary momentum to the other team. However, and I was okay with punting there. The second, though, I disagree completely. Look, the field goals, you knew eventually they'd already kind of solved our defense late in the second half and in the first half, where it's just, we're going to run these dig routes. We're going to run these quick outs. We see what you're doing. We've diagnosed it. We know how to kind of attack you. We had a good drive going. And here was the thing for me was, just snap the ball and let Double G fall forward to get this. And look, the field goal would still be on the table, and you get to kill more time, and it gives you a chance to go ahead and get a 6 out of it, right? Well, how much did we lose by?
I ain't gonna lie. When I was doing the live broadcast, I said I was going back and forth because it was short as hell. And the only reason why I said kick the field goal, BJ, because I don't trust my Cowboys. We are accident waiting to happen sometimes, and it's just so obvious. Okay, it's inches. We can go get this, and we can get this touchdown. But we're the Cowboys of the goofiness, and I just was seeing in my head. And I believe they did too. I'm keeping it real. I believe that offensive staff was like, yo, we done have too many goofy things be happening to us. If we go for this and we miss this and they take it all the way down the field and score a touchdown, they're tied, the momentum is going to shift. We're going to probably be in our head. So they said, you know what? Let's go with the we think is the guaranteed, and let's try to figure it out from there. Maybe it might not have been the right call because you have a guy named Ben Roethlisberger back there that can bring a team back, and field goals ain't going to win it. So in hindsight, maybe we should have went for it. But in my opinion, at that time, I didn't trust nothing about the Cowboys to get them inches because they do too many goofy shit. And we're the type of guys that when we try to do a quarterback sneak, we fumble it. We you know what I'm saying? Or they'll hand it off to Zeke and he gets stuffed for 3-yard loss. I mean, we do that stuff, dog.
It does happen, but again, we were accident waiting to happen no matter what in the game. For me,
I feel you.
I want to fight. Look,
I got you.
And if we go get a touchdown there, it changes the complexity of the game for sure. Because you put this up by more than just the 2 scores. It's more than just, a touchdown on the field goal, right? And it might changes the momentum where they can't just keep throwing these underneath passes. You got to start forcing it a little bit further down the field, and we end up getting a turnover or whatnot. And again, how much you pay? Look, and I get it, right? You're in the NFL. If you can't get this in the NFL, I don't know what we're doing.
I feel you.
And I'm like, you paid Zach Martin, you paid Zeke, lean in that thing, go get it. And man, just to me, I thought that whenever we didn't get that, I was saying Buffalo Wild Wings with a couple of fans and stuff. I said, man, that's probably going to cost us the game. That's probably what's going to be the deal breaker for us. And unfortunately, that's what it came back. That's what it came down to. But, I do understand the reasoning for kicking it, making it a 2-score game and whatnot. But you could kind of already feel how this thing was going. And I thought it was the time to kind of just go ahead. All right, guys, we're going to put the meat to it and move forward. And we're going to go get this and be that tough guy head coach. And like I said, the 3 was still going to be on the board. You got it. You got to eat more clock. But, water underneath the bridge, as they say, James. Water underneath the bridge. Aggravating.
Yeah. Shout out to my dog, Boss Cowboys. He jumped in the feed. What's up with your big dog? I want to say something. You got a lot of people talking about the special teams. Jamal said something about it. I believe Sean M said something about our special teams. We have been crying about our special teams for all year. And guess what? They showed up on that game, man. Number one, the Leginator. They call him Legatron. I call him the damn Leginator. The Leginator, you feel me, was doing this thing. And that damn nasty ass call that I loved when they threw it across the field and
good one.
That was dope. I was geeked up. I was like, okay, I like that.
You know what I loved about that too? Goodwin selling the hamstring as the ball's in the air.
Yes.
He's like, oh, the hammy.
Yes.
The hammy. And then all of a sudden, hey, boom,
I'm gone. I loved it.
The quickest healed hamstring in NFL history. And of course, big play. What do we get? A flag.
Exactly. And when he was running down the field the whole time, I was like, here come that flag, dog. In my head, I was like, here it comes. This is too damn good to be true. we faked them out so lovely. It's just too good to be damn true. You know what I'm saying?
And they shout out to CJ Goodwin because he was actually named a captain before the game. He gets that play, and then on one of the punts, as soon as the guy caught it, Goodwin blasted him I was like, ooh, I thought he might fumble that thing. And then, as you called him earlier, what'd you call Crawford with the hips? I mean,
granny hips.
Granny hips, granny hips. We get a block punt, we get a block field goal, on that end. And then the weird one, right? The weird one for the special teams. They missed a 54-yard field goal, but it's a false start. They back up 5.
And you knew he was going to make it. You knew he was going to make it, though.
And he makes his 59-yarder the longest one ever. And I'm like, boy, if that is not our season in a damn nutshell.
But BJ, that's what I'm saying. That's why I was nervous about the 4th in inches, because you see, we have a false start. You miss a 54-yarder. We get a false start. You move it out 5 yards. It's 59. Now you make it. You get what I'm saying? That's why I just feel like this is just what happens to the Cowboys. Oh my God, dog. It's maddening. It's crazy that it always seems to just happen to us, but maybe it happens to other teams, but I don't watch other teams. So you know what I mean?
It's just us. I don't care. It's just us.
It's just us.
But shout out to the special teams. I'm with you, man. And the special teams coach, Fossil Bones, was excited on the sidelines. And man, for the first time.
That's the first time we saw excitement, it seemed like, from the whole team.
Yeah.
Can we not say that?
Yeah. You cut some dead weight. You play pretty good. Things kind of coming together. People get excited. Yeah, my boy Sue, who on that run out too, that little pooch kick after the 15-yard penalty from and almost housed it on him.
And Ricky Dowdell.
Yeah.
When that boy ran out like a bat out of hell, I was like, who's 34 running like that, dog? Get him on that special teams, let him return a few more, dog. He was gone.
Like he was shot out of a gun. But when you get that injection of new blood that's ready to get out here and prove themselves.
Right.
Exactly. Things like that happen. That's why I was so disappointed in Bradley and they in Double R being inactive again, man. I'm like, come on, let's get them in there. Let's get it going.
Especially the Annihilator. We got to see some Bradley and Nye, big dog. Like
we
got to see. And I think, you know what? Honestly, I think we'll see Bradley and Nye when they have that mathematically out of the playoffs. That's when I think we'll see the Bradley and Nye. Remember, let's use the fingers mathematically out. That's when I think you'll see him and Reggie Robinson doing mathematically.
You already know.
You already know. Let's talk about one player that we got excited about. I'm sure you were too. I call him the Galley Monster. You know what I'm saying? Neville Gallimore. We have been waiting. And maybe big fatty, we've been waiting for him because he was going to come along slowly. Played in Canada. When he played at Oklahoma, they played him out of position. I get to see the Big 12. They were playing him out of position. You knew it was going to take a little bit of time to get his legs underneath him. But one thing we can say we loved about Gallimore was that intensity, that fire,
motor.
That high motor. He looked like he got bigger. So we were like, yeah, we like that. And he was nonstop. Now, he was coming along slowly, and I like how they did it. But this game right here, he only had one tackle, but this was his highest grade game per Pro Football Focus. And one of the things we really got excited about when this 3rd and 1, that 4th and 1, when he stuffed them, threw them guys off of him, stuffed them, getting up and flexing like Gala Monster. Tell me your thoughts on Neville Gallimore and how you feeling about him going forward.
Just one of the guys I was super high on the draft that we ended up getting. I couldn't believe we got him in the 3rd round anyways, just one of those drafts where there were so many defensive players that kind of push these kind of guys. Because to me, I had him graded high 2nd is where I had him graded on my board.
Me too.
And was super excited for him, for us to be able to get him in the 3rd round. And I was disappointed hearing like it's taking him a little while and coming along. And man, I'm like, I said, he can't be no worse than Poe. Okay, he can't be no worse than Poe. Then finally we were able to get Poe up out of here and Griffin up out of here. Like, okay, let the big man shine a little bit. And I think he did exactly what I thought he was going to do. Personally, I think his ceiling is very high. It's sad that we don't get a chance to see him with Hill because Hill was kind of getting that burst and getting up the field to that quarterback, and now you got this guy to eat up these blocks and do some things himself to run a little bit. It'd be a very good look if we stay in this 4 or 5 man front as we go into next year when we get Hill back and put them side by side. To me, it's pretty exciting because I don't got a tandem at defensive tackle like that, and God knows when. To be honest with you. And shout out to they're super young. And shout out to my guy 79
Justin Hamilton.
Hey man, if you go back and look, he doesn't flash with the same kind of authority as Gallimore. However, man, he'll eat blocks up for you, man.
Yes,
he will eat up some blocks. And since he's been getting some burns, definitely seeing. We see the run totals at the end of the game. Outside maybe some big gashes here and there, they're not getting those same consistent 6, 7, 8 back to back to back. And that's a big shout out to those big men up front. They're getting their turn now, man.
Yeah, and definitely. And I think one of the things, just like you said, Poe was holding up progress. Now you got young studs and young guys that are hungry, and we want a job. I want another contract. I want a starting position. Hamilton's saying this is a dream for me to play for the Dallas Cowboys. Now you're actually getting on the field. Gallimore. And I agree with you. It hurts my soul because I was one of the Tristan Hill guys. I was one of the people who said, don't throw him away. Right. He's not a bust. Give him a chance. Let him grow, and you'll see what happens. And we were seeing flashes of him. Just imagine if he was playing right now with the young studs, and then he had just all the young guys around him. I think he really would have been productive in that. But like you said, going toward the future, when we're looking at least our defensive tackle position, we probably still need to shore it up. But at least you got some young, hungry flavor, and they're cheap. So, and that's the great thing about it. They're young and cheap. And Stephen Jones, that's
Stephen loves that.
That's ringing to Stephen. Cheap. They cheap and they're young, and that's ringing the Stephen's ears. So we got to capitalize on that, but we got building blocks going forward. And even though Randy Gregory is like 28 years old, he ain't played. He ain't got a lot of tread on the tires, and you still see explosiveness from him. You get what I'm saying? DeMarcus Lawrence. Looks like he's getting better from his knee injury. I had an epic rant about 2-3 weeks ago. People were laughing at it, but I mean, I was just feeling just what I was feeling. I never try to disrespect D-Law and say he wasn't a great run defender. He goes all out every play. I ain't never said that. All I said was we need you to do this against these other teams, because I said the 3 sacks you got against were backups and bums. Right. Just my opinion. Well, I said let's see that against these Pittsburgh Steelers. He was active, but he was active.
Well, here's the thing, and I caught some flack for this too. I'm like, at the end of the day, I love D-Law. I love what he brings. He's just not a $100 million defensive guy. And I'm sorry. I mean, those are just the facts. If you go look at who the $100 million guys are, he's not in that class. He's not in that weight class. Is he a $70, $80 million end? Absolutely. Absolutely he is. He plays great against the run. He gives you maximum effort. He will chase down from behind. He'll go sideline to sideline. But it's just if it's a 30, you got to have a sack. It's going to typically just come against the Giants or somebody, right? That's where he's going to flash and kind of show. But I mean, no, I love his effort. I love his motor. I love everything about him. But again, it's something with Brandon Carr was here. We gave him what, 50, 60 million. It wasn't that Brandon Carr was trash. He just wasn't a 50, 60 million dollar cornerback. And it's just kind of the same thing here with D-Law. It's not that he's trash or he's terrible. He's a great defensive end. He's just not 100 million. He's not Aaron Donald. I mean,
he's not a Khalil Mack.
Right.
He's not a Khalil Mack to me. He's not a Joey Bosa to me.
Right. And those guys don't grow on trees, so it is what it is.
But he's still a very good end. So I don't try to take that from him. Now, my guy KMT jumped in there. Shout out to you, KMT. And I want to get your thoughts on Tat McKinley. He just got released by the Atlanta Falcons. And he was giving us fits, and he was having a pretty good year. He was one of the people that was on the Cowboys' radar in 2017. Cowboys probably would have drafted him if he wouldn't have got scooped up by Atlanta. He kind of forced his way off the roster with Atlanta. Do you think the Cowboys will look at anything, or they're going to say, you know what, we're good what we got. We ain't even going to look at you?
I don't think. Honestly, here's the thing. From a business standpoint, they probably should, because you can let him play the rest of the year and you get a comp pick for him. To be honest, with what he did on social media and whatnot, I kind of look at this front office, and we've seen the guys they've kind of shied away from, and and what they kind of danced around with old Thomas and said, nah, we don't think we want to do anything with that. So I would, yes. Because even if you don't re-sign him, you basically you're in position. If nobody ahead of you gets him with the waiver pick, you get him, let him play this year, and the comp pick. It's easy money for you to get an extra pick, right? And you can't buy enough of those. But the way this front office is operating with what he did on Twitter, I'm going to go with no. I don't think they're going to bring him in.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I just feel like we good. I hear Stephen Jones' ears. A mouth just saying we're good with what we have. We like what we have. We like what we have.
We like what we have on the roster.
You feel me? So I don't even feel like they're gonna pack it, even go that route. Just my opinion. Let's switch and go back and talk about this back end. Trevin Diggs got hurt. Hopefully it's nothing serious. He had a little foot. He had a little injury with the foot. So the good thing about it is we're heading into this bye week. So that's a great time for him to rest and to get healthy. I don't know what the hell is going on with Cheeto. You missed, I think, 7 games now, 6 games. And this is contract year. I would like, this is my opinion. Let's go through the players. I'm going to have the people in the feed talk about it too. Let's go through this secondary right quick. We know what Diggs is. Diggs is a guy you build around.
Yep.
Diggs has shown no matter he's got cooked a little bit, but he's a rookie. You playing defensive back, you going against all these damn good receivers, and he hasn't backed off and been scared. That guy's the guy we want.
Okay? And he should have had to pick him and dadgum Wilson.
Oh, him and Wilson.
4 hands on it. God bless. Oh,
hey, and you know, on that pass, Randy Gregory had that pressure, and that's the reason why Ben got rid of it, because Randy Gregory was about to smack that ass. You feel me, with that damn Ben. So you know what I mean? So we know Diggs. Now look on the opposite side. You had Anthony Brown. We know he's not going anywhere, so I ain't really talk about him because he's there. It's Cheeto and Jordan Lewis. Yep. Are these, in your opinion, the last days of Cheeto and Jordan Lewis? And what do you guys think about that in the feed as well?
I think Lewis is for sure gone. I don't think they'll bring Lewis back whatsoever. I think he's gone. If it's me, I'm bringing Cheeto back because now at this point, he's not played enough to get a big deal, right? And here goes Steven, right? Cheap. You know, and I think you're going to keep Cheeto on. You know, obviously it's a hamstring injury, and those things can be very nagging, especially in Cowboys Nation. You know, remember the Miles Austin and the hamstrings and everything else, right? But yeah, no, I think for sure you're bringing back. For me, I'm bringing back Cheeto. I think Lewis is gone. You bring back Cheeto, you're going to be able to get him for the right price, and it might be just a 1-year proven deal. I'd like to see him getting for 2 years. But it might be just a 1-year proven deal for him, and they kind of go from there. But I think Cheeto's going to be in-house, though, still, and I think Lewis is going to be the odd man out.
Yeah, me and Boss Cowboys were talking about that Saturday, and I agree with you totally. That's exactly what I said as well. I think Jordan Lewis, because I think he's not going to cost a lot either because he hasn't shown much, but I just feel like he's going to want a fresh start. He's going to want to get somewhere where he can compete and feel like he's going to get a chance because he's been jerked around too much in Dallas, and I just feel like he wants out as well. He may not be talking about it, but I just believe that, you know, he wants to go and be able to get some shine. And I feel you with Cheeto. Cheeto's been much maligned since he's came here because, he doesn't look back. He doesn't turn his head. But at the end of the day, Cheeto is a sticky-ass cornerback. And I said that when they drafted him. We get frustrated, but Cheeto's always like right there. It never like he was just getting
eyes ear hole underneath his armpit.
Oh,
I mean,
you'd be like, how are these quarterbacks completing these passes on it? And Cheeto is all on this dude's ass, and this dude these are lasers. These dudes are completing, so I can't fault that. You know what I mean? And I want Cheeto to come back. I feel like he's a good corner. He's young. I don't know. I just something about Cheeto now. Like I never hated on him, and when people was getting frustrated, I would get frustrated. I was like, I still like Cheeto for some reason. I just like Cheeto.
You know, going into the season, Cheeto was one of my guys to watch for a big bounce back year. You know, I don't think he had a terrible year last year, but I thought with this coaching staff, with the Al Harris's there, with that turning the heads up, I thought some big things, you know, was going to come for Cheeto. And look, he did get an interception, right? Before he went down, he did get an interception due to the pressure from Alden Smith against the Rams. So I'm big on Cheeto still, you know, and I love, you know, I hate the fact that he's hurt. I hate injuries. You know, I hate when guys can't go get and earn the maximum amount of money they possibly can in this league because we know the NFL stands for not for long, and I want these guys to get paid. I'm a player. Go get your money. That's how I'm built. These billionaires are going to make their money. These players have got to get their money for, you know, as much money as they can, as long as they can play in this league. And, you know, I hate that for him. But for the team side, it's good for us because I think we can keep him, you know, at a reasonable rate and, you know, maybe add a rookie in there. And I'm with you. The other thing with Jordan Lewis, too, and I don't know what you think. I think Jordan Lewis is an outside corner. He's long enough. He's got
he's an outside corner. He's not a slot, and that's where
he's going to leave. Because we're never going to play him outside.
No, he's never going to play outside. And if you look at his career, they kept on pigeonholing him in the slot. But when you watched him at Michigan, he wasn't a slot corner. He was an outside corner. That's what he plays, and that's what he is. He's not a great slot corner, and nothing really showed that to me where he was going to be. And it just really hurt him, and I think he wants an opportunity. And, hey, I wish the best. I love Jordan Lewis, but it's just not going to happen in Dallas, dog. You feel me?
Yep. Agreed.
So let's talk about the safety position because it's been a lot of people been up in here talking about it, man. A lot of people been up in here talking about it.
Yeah.
So let's go with this guy we all been talking about. I mentioned it on Twitter, and here's the thing. Before I say this man's name, and y'all already know who the hell we about to talk about, but I'm mad because I picked him in the 2017 draft. BJ, I picked him in the mock draft. I picked him right. Like I was wanting him when they went and got Ryan Switzer in the 4th. I was mad because I was like, "Why you just lost Xavier Woods?
Did we just become best friends?
Yeah,
we did. Just friends. You want to do some? You want to do some karate in the day?
Yeah, I got it.
Because me too. I was like, yo, we didn't take Woods in the 4th. We went after Switzer. I'm like, I know he's a return guy, but I'm like, yo, we're going to lose Woods. I'm like, what are we doing? Now I'm like, damn,
Bye.
why did we draft him? I'm like, oh, where's this kid from La Tech that I saw doing all these things?
Oh
Where
my
did he go?
God.
I can't find him.
He is hidden. He hiding. I don't know where he went. You had 14 career interceptions, dog, like 7 your last year. That's where did all the playmaking go? It just went somewhere in smoke.
Well, he left the 30% back at La Tech. He's only playing 70%, I guess, now. I don't, there's just
And
no
he
excuse.
don't help himself with the media.
No, and the tackling is bad. The angle,
Oh my
I'm like,
God, the angle still, it's still running away from contact. Just go.
yeah, I don't know, man. I don't get it. I'm with you. Like I said, I verbatim during that draft I was like, oh, we about to get Woods here in the fourth. And they took Switzer. I was like,
I was mad as shit.
Me too.
I was like, see, that's why I'm full with this team.
Yeah, I was the same way. But now, like you just said, yeah, no, we wish you best on your future endeavors.
Yes, man. Have a good time, because this is not. And you know what the thing is? I wrote an article on him. I said, could Xavier Woods be the next Earl Thomas? Dog, I was hyping this man. I was on him. And then he was talking about, oh, you know what? I don't appreciate people talking about me. You know, I'm got a little chip on my shoulder now. Dog, will play with the chip on your shoulder, because
let me see it.
Because only one I got the chip is Anthony Brown with the little potato chip on his arm.
Yeah.
Where your chip at? I need a big chip, because I ain't seen it. I just want you to go. I ain't trying to be disrespectful. I just want you to go. It just looked like you don't even want to play for Dallas no more. Just go. I want to see these other guys in here. Please. I know Reggie Robinson, maybe he's not taken to the safety, but let's try to figure it out. But as far as Xavier Woods, bye-bye, man.
You still can't beat me by that Clinton Dix was this bad that he could not be
over Darian Thompson too.
Parker. I mean, we can just go down the list.
Was he that bad?
There's no way. I mean, I know he hasn't got another gig in the league or whatever, and that's fine. But there's no way. I'll never believe it ever. Look, I will come back on this show 10 years from now, and me and you, and I'll say there's no way back in 2020 that Clinton Dix was this bad,
especially over Darian Thompson.
Oh.
I don't care. People are trying to pump him up to me. Just because you was drafted in the second round don't mean you good. You get what I'm saying? Like, just because we've seen tons of players drafted in the first round, second rounds that are bust. Okay, so let's not hype because he was drafted in the second round by the New York Giants. So what? You get what I'm saying? My thing is, I don't even want to talk about him. Let's talk about Donovan Wilson.
Oh yeah, my man.
Donovan Wilson. I liked him when he came out of college. He was one of the guys. It was something. I didn't say he was special, but when I watched him at tape, I just like, BJ, there's something about this kid, though. He go all out, and then when they drafted him, he's a dog. And when they drafted him, I listened to when they talked to him, he was just like, I ain't gonna let you guys down. I'm gonna bleed this. I'm gonna bleed. I could feel the passion in him, and he plays with passion. If you really watch him, he plays with that passion on the field. And I feel like, you know what? I'm not saying he's our next great safety, but I think he can be a person in the future that you can work with, especially when he seems like he's getting better each game. Tell me your thoughts about Donovan Wilson.
You know, I was super big on him. You know, you go look at the tape at A&M for them Aggies fans out there, giggle them. You know, that might be appreciated on this show with the Longhorn fan here, but I'm just gonna throw it out there. You know, but with that being said, you know, but if you look at the tape, you know, injuries is what cost him. Now, obviously, you get a little nervous. I mean, guys kind of nicked up all the time, maybe makes you a little nervous, but that's why he slipped in the draft, right? And we were able to get him. And, you know, you can see it in the training camp, you know, his rookie year, you can see him flying around doing things. I'm like, man, we got a dog here. You know, that's what you were saying about that tape, something to him. It's that dog and that passion. He brings it on the field with him. And that's something that, you know, you can't have enough of those kind of guys on your team. Football is a passionate sport, and you got to have a dog mentality. You got to want to be in that fight, right? And, you know, we were last year and we wasn't seeing him play none. I actually tweeted O'Brien brought us about halfway during the season. I'm like, hey, man, anything you tell me about, you know, about my guy Wilson. And, you know, broke my heart. Brian was like, unless there's major catastrophic injuries, you're not going to see him on the field this year. And I'm like, gut punch. Okay. And then we get to this training camp. He's getting interceptions. Things are happening. And then we line up and it's not him week one. And I'm like, really? We're going to do this? But
what the hell is going on?
Yeah, what is going on? But, you know, he finally started getting this time. Then he got burned. He got benched again. And since he's been back on there, you know, the thing that I love about him when I'm watching the tape, it's not at the point of the attack when he's around the ball or anything. It's whenever he's not around the ball. And when the camera's not going to be on you, what he does, go ahead and run up and try to block him away from the ball and see what happens to you. And I've watched him lay out a couple of different receivers coming across trying to block him as he's flying that way to the ball and stuff. So I'm with you. Is he going to be the next greatest safety that we've ever had? I'm not saying that far, but I do agree. Like, okay, and I'm not saying we're going to get this guy, but let's say you go sign a Justin Simmons out of Denver and pair Simmons and Wilson together.
I feel like that makes Donovan Wilson better.
Exactly. And I think that kind of pairing that you could do with him, I think will go a long ways. It's going to depend on who they pair him with, where his career is going to kind of project to go. But I love having him back there. I love the dog and the mentality he brings. And he's the best safety on this damn roster right now.
Yeah. I like I said, give him some time, let him work. But just like you said, I feel like if he has a real alpha dog as a safety right next to him, I feel like he's going to be even better. I feel like he will flow off them. I feel like he's a studier. I feel like, just like we were talking about Earl, I know Earl had the bad habits, but let's say Earl had the good habits, and I feel like Donovan Wilson would soak that up. I feel like Donovan Wilson be the guy that let me follow you, let me learn from you, let me get better in this. A lot of times when we watched the tape this year, what we saw was Donovan Wilson working out. We saw Donovan Wilson going hard. We've seen that the last 2 years. He doesn't play. He doesn't take plays off. He goes hard. And that's what you want. If you're building your team for the future on the defensive side of the ball, you want guys that are going to compete. You're going to want guys that are not going to give up and going to fight tooth and nail for the team. He is one of the guys that you want to have on your team because he is one of them people. And that's what I like. And he has a little bit of ability, pretty good size. He will hit you. Yep. You know what I'm saying? I think he's a little okay in coverage. He can get better, but I feel his like hips, more time.
I would say his hips are a little stiff. His hips are a little stiff, to be just a true natural, quote unquote, center fielder free safety. But I mean, he has the speed, though. That's the one big thing about it. He does have enough speed to cover them deep thirds if he has to, for sure.
And now check this out. So, excuse me. Now let's talk about this coach before we head up out of here. Let's talk about Mike Nolan, man. What's your thoughts on him? Because, we can say that the last 2 weeks, the team has played better. Maybe I'm gonna play the devil's advocate. I'm gonna play devil's advocate. Okay. Maybe that the team is now getting under their feet, and maybe Nolan wasn't feeling those guys, and he helped get them out, and the team is getting. And he changed up the defense too. And DeMarcus. Remember, I said DeMarcus Lawrence came out there and said, "Hey, they put the defense players in the best position to win, and we felt good about that, and we liked the way the coaches did." Now, is that Mike Nolan listening to what's going on in there, trying to readjust? 2 weeks, better performance. If he keeps this up, BJ, and this defense becomes respectable and becomes good or decent, respectable, are you going to say, let's get rid of Mike Nolan and then let's go after somebody else?
I mean, it's fluid. Number, James Washington and Wilson, 37. But you got to let it play out, right? Everyone's ready to get rid of Mike McCarthy and everything else. I mean, you got to let them play out. It's their first year, the COVID year that we talked about earlier, and see where the thing goes. Here's what I'll say. And the one thing that I like is, like, he was coaching upstairs, right? And then he said, all right, I'm coming from upstairs, and I'm going to be on the field now. All right, I'm adjusting, right? Because I'm learning from the guys, and I'm adjusting, and I'm doing these things, right? Okay, well, after week 2, they simplified the defense. All right, we're doing too much right now. Let's simplify it. Let's get these guys in position to do what they do best. And I like some of the things he even came out and said. He goes, well, we're simplifying it. He's.
Oh.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, I got you. And then I was like, damn. I said, turn out the lights.
The party's over.
Turn them off.
I said, damn, we was kicking it.
Yeah.
He said, bye.
Peace, Restream. We'll holler at you later. But no. With that being said, and they started playing. Then you got rid of the dead weight, and you're seeing these guys walk through even more now. So, I mean, we got to let them play through. And, we got to see what the Luke Giffords get a chance to play, right? Are we going to Francis Bernard's a chance to play? The Anaz get a chance to play, and so on and so forth. We're already seeing Gallimore, we talked about earlier, get a chance to play. So as he's able to play his guys in this defense and cut some of this weight out, right? Where's this thing going to end up? Yeah, not only was the Cowboy history bad through 6 weeks, It was NFL historically bad. The most points given up by any defense since the 1973 Houston Oilers. I mean, it was that bad. Now, the offense wasn't doing any favors. We know they were turning the ball over at a bad pace, and it looks like we might be negative 30 in the plus minus column on the turnovers. We just had two more, But I mean, as this thing's turning and we're seeing it, it's like Novocaine, man. Sometimes you got to give it a little bit of time.
Yeah, that's a damn good illustration. I like that. Andy Jones agrees with you, and I tend to agree because of the Joneses. The Joneses never want to look like they made a mistake. Ever. They never want to look like they made a mistake. So do we really think this my opinion, not saying I'm jumping all up and down to have Mike Nolan come back, but if this defense recovers and it plays admirably the last half of this season, I just find it hard to believe these Jones are going to say, you know what, let's go ahead and just get rid of Mike Nolan, especially if McCarthy is still vouching for Mike Nolan and this defense comes back. It'd be really hard for me to see the Joneses saying, oh, bye. We're going to go ahead and get somebody else. Because they always want to say, let's play this out. Let's see how this plays out. Let's see how this plays out. And
we're making progress.
We're making progress. And if this team comes back to respectability as far as this defense, I'd have a hard time seeing these Joneses cutting him.
And of course, let's be clear. We always talk about all the injuries that were on the offensive side of the ball. Man, there's been a lot of injuries on the defensive side of the ball too, right? Whether you're talking about Tristan Hill, you're talking about Chidobe Awuzie, right? You're talking about LVE, you're talking about Sean Lee. There was a lot of injuries on this defensive side of the ball too that we're slowly getting these guys back with some of the cutting of the dead weight and young guys. We're kind of seeing this defense kind of take hold and take shape and mold a little bit. And I cautioned everybody in our big preseason show, right before the season kickoff show. I said, look, this offense to me was always going to have to carry this defense for 7 or 8 games. I said this defense will have a better chance of being good, or they'll be better later in the year than they will be early in the year because it's a new system and they got to learn it. Now we got the power on offense to go get these 40 burgers that we expected, and they got to carry us early on, and then this defense will figure it out later. Because if you ever played football, forget if you ever played football. If you just go and watch training camps, the offense typically starts off pretty quick, and the defense kind of typically comes around and rounds into form and figures out what they're doing. And this is kind of, the way it kind of works. That's why you see a lot of teams, like they score a lot of points in week 1. Like, oh, I know they're going to score this many. And then all of a sudden, they're only, the Washington football team was scoring 20 again with the win against the Eagles in the comeback. And then they didn't score 20 again till, I think when they played us. But neither here nor there. Again, it's just one of those things. And we're seeing the culture maybe kind of turn. We're seeing these players get in there. And when the Joneses don't want to admit they make a mistake. Nolan is for sure Mike McCarthy's guy, right? Because Nolan gave Mike McCarthy the job back in the day. So buddy, hey, rub these elbows. And if things keep going the right way, there's no way Nolan's going to be out of here. Unless the only way I'm with you here, if McCarthy says, I think I want to change, then I think at that point, the Joneses want to say they're wrong. Well, our head coach wants to change. We're empowering our coach. He wants to make a change. So we're showing you that we're giving Mike McCarthy the keys.
Yes. And they're gonna play that in the media. Well, this is up on coach. If coach wants, I know you Joneses. Y'all ain't slickster. Y'all businessmen for a reason. Y'all think y'all some slicksters, but I see all that stuff that y'all be trying to do. You know what I mean? So we're in the bye week.
Yeah.
Headed into the second part of the season, on our last thing we talk about, what's your thoughts on do you think the Cowboys, okay, I ain't never been a team tank, and I don't think a team ever tries to, I don't understand that. Like if I'm playing
the NBA.
I'm not doing that. Like these games aren't 82 games. This is 16 damn game season. So it's really hard for me to see teams just checking out like that, especially when you're playing in a whack division. But going forward, offensively, defensively, and division, where do you think we're going to look like on both sides of the ball going forward?
Well, if we believe one's an accident, two's a trend, right? And we're looking at what this defense is doing, that kind of gives us an idea. I guess we'll have to kind of play this thing a little bit. Obviously, Tyler Badaz has a hamstring he hurt in warm-ups this past week. He's out 2 to 3 weeks. Yeah, he's out 2 to 3 weeks. Then you got to look at also apparently a Steelers player tested positive for COVID. So the bye week came at a good time for us here in case something comes of that. We got to see about the quarantine and whatever moving forward. But to me, it just goes back to Andy Dalton. And Andy Dalton really hasn't showed me much, as a quarterback. outside of when he had to come off the bench and not to think about it too much. And boom, 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 we beat the Giants. And then whenever he played, just didn't look very good. So I don't know, I don't think Zeke's going to find the fountain of youth. So I don't really know if, where this offense is going to go underneath Andy Dalton. I think this defense has a chance to continuously get better, though, from the Eagles game to this week. We're playing against this team, and then the undefeated Steelers. And then you look, as far as our division goes, we have the easiest schedule left in our division, if I'm not mistaken on that.
Yeah, we got the Vikings, Washington, Ravens, Bengals, Niners, Eagles, Giants.
I mean,
that don't look great to us, though.
No, don't want to see those Ravens. Now the Niners are a little bit different with all this stuff.
But we can beat them Ravens. That's what's funny. We can beat the Ravens because I'm not super scared of Lamar Jackson throwing that ball. I know he can do it running the game. That's what I'll be worried about it. But that throw-in,
Dez over there. Ooh, Dez maybe a big game down.
Lord have mercy. You gonna tell me Jim Harbaugh or John Harbaugh ain't gonna play Dez in that damn Dallas game and not let him eat? You're a fool.
Yeah, there's going to be some special.
That's going to be some personal. That's going to be a little personal that week, and all eyes on me. Going to be on that damn game,
right? I mean, I think this team can get to 5 wins.
Mm-hmm. Do you want them to get to 5 wins?
I want a top 3 pick is what I want, but I want a top 3 pick. But I mean, I think 5 wins is going to get you a top 7 pick, though. I think 5 will get you a top 7. The question will be as we beat up on each other within this division, is 6-10 a realistic record that might win this division?
It really could. I mean, 7-9 won in 1 year, so it's definitely possible.
Yeah,
it's definitely possible, big dog. Nobody's going to separate themselves in this damn division.
No, 6-8-1. Maybe that tie is going to be the one that gets them over the hump.
Right.
So I don't know. Like I don't have. I mean. Obviously, anytime that the Giants play the team from Washington, they're going to get that good old win from Danny Dimes. That's where all of his wins come from, except for one. And, now you look at the Washington team. Now they're down to Alex Smith with the Kyle Allen injury as well. Mm-hmm. And we kind of know where they're headed. So, I mean, in a weird way, it's still really up to us and Philly. But, I mean, again, it's about to Andy Dalton. Is Andy Dalton going to show and prove what we thought Andy Dalton could be with these weapons or not?
I don't know. I don't know. It's a lot of unknown because I don't know how this team is with this new staff. I'm just kind of maybe the way the coaches is learning the players is like the fans are learning this new whole thing because we had to deal 10 years with Garrett. So we're usually still, like you said, what was the word you gave me? With Garrett.
Oh, the post Garrett stress syndrome.
Yes, post Garrett
stress syndrome.
Yes, that's what it was. And I think I was still going through it, and it's almost like, let's see. So it's just a lot of unknown for me going in the second part of the season. But my main thing is this, BJ, just play hard, whether you win or lose, and let's continue to see these young players who you can grow for next year and beyond. That's the main thing I want to look at. Get your guys. Get your guys. Find your guys.
And that's the big thing for me was, after the Washington game, I'm like, man, dude, we just didn't play. Like, I don't care if we lose. Play hard. Play hard. Mm-hmm. If we lose and play hard, I'm okay with that. In that Eagles game, I didn't feel bad at all when we lost the Eagles game.
Right.
I hated the terrible strip fumble, and it should have not been a touchdown, but that's fine. Look, in this game against the Steelers, I didn't feel bad because these guys showed up and competed. As long as we're competing, I'm fine with that. And as I said before the trade deadline, man, go play the young guys moving forward. Just play them, see what you got, who's going to be here to build around and go through that. For me, again, as I'm seeing some of the comments pop up as we talked about earlier, Double G, man, I want to see Double G the rest of the way. For me, that's where I'm at now. As we said in quotations, until we're mathematically out of it, we're probably not going to. We're probably not going to see what's going to be Dalton. And unfortunately, the way this division's set up, we're going to be in it for a little bit longer.
and that's where we're frustrated because that's the only reason why I believe he's playing. I feel like if we were out of it, there would be no reason to play Dalton. Just like you said, let's see what we have in Gigi because he's a guy that you can keep on the roster down the future. But it is what it is. So we'll see what these Cowboys are going to do second half of the season. I appreciate you, big dog, man. I really thank you coming on, man. You be doing your damn thing over in Star Gang over there with Spoonie and your girl. What's her name? I be
Mariella.
She is a funny person, boy. She be having me crack.
She's spicy.
She be having me crack up on Twitter. She is super spicy on Twitter, yo. She be having me rolling. Shout out to you guys over there and everything you're doing over there in Star Gang. Let everybody know where they at, where they can follow you, all that good stuff. Because man, this guy's a great follow, great voice, great beard. The Beard Gang is killing it.
The building.
Yeah, it's the Beard Gang is killing it. Let everybody know where they can find you, big dog.
Absolutely, man. If you want to find me on Twitter, man, it's your_guy_Nix, Nix. Obviously, as he just said, Star Gang is the group. Star Gang is also the page. Man, like and follow the page. Come join the group. Come on in. We have a good time over there. And then on YouTube, it's Star Gang Podcast. Go give us that old sub and that notification button. You can catch me, Spoonie, and Mary Ella every Tuesday night, 8 o'clock Central with the Cowboys Report. And typically you can catch me and Spoonie. We try to slide in against. I know we had Bluff City on last night. We had our guy Sid on. We do the post game after every game as well, man. Man, big shout out to you, Big Dave James. What? Have me in. I feel real comfortable in here tonight, man.
Hey, man, that's what we try to do. Come on, dog. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? Once we already hit the wavelength on the 2017 draft of Xavier Woods and Ryan Switzer, we're good now.
It was only meant to be.
It was meant to be. You feel me?
Yeah.
But
I'm gonna get some pumpkin and stuff out there. We'll get some ninja swords and slice it up like
you know what I'm saying? Because I was sitting there thinking, like, I was like, damn, I want to do a show today, but I don't really want to do a solo show today. I said, who can I holler at? You know what I'm saying? I said, oh yeah, my dog BJ. He be bringing it. I was like, bring him on because we'll have some good talk. I don't have to pull no teeth when we talk to him. We can just sit there, and because when I came on your show, man, we was just clicking, popping back and forth. I was like, oh yeah. Number one, I want to give one last shout out to you, to everybody on the Star Game, because y'all bring it. Please go sub to these. Please go sub to them. They bring hella good Cowboys knowledge, great talking and conversation between them, great camaraderie between you guys, you 3-man team. Please go out there and sub, bring them up, because I love what y'all bring to the table. And I definitely want us to be able to jump on this show again and talk, especially when it's down the line and we can evaluate what our young guys are looking like. You feel me?
Indeed. Maybe get some Bradley and Nay on this thing and be like, oh look at this young beast.
Man, we can be talking about the Annihilator. That's what I want to talk about. Hey, I got names, dog. You check me out, dog. Go right. Gadget Gilbert. That was the name. Yeah, go Gadget Gilbert. That's so when you think about that, when you see Melville Gallimore smashing people, that's the Gala Monster. And when you see Bradley and Nye finally get there and he get a big sack, that's the Annihilator. So if y'all hear anybody say it, you know who said it first. BGJ.
That guy James.
Hey, but shout out to everybody. Shout out to everybody in the feed. We had a great crowd today. Really appreciate everybody. Sean M, Jamal Sims, Reddy Red, Roman, Jim Laws, KMT. So many people was in here. Brush Turner, Andy Jones, Uncle Charles. What's up with you? Good to see you again. Nick Rich, T Smooth TV, just so many of you guys up in here, and we had just a great time. So you really brought the crowd, so I really appreciate you today. All right.
Hey, man. Hey, whenever you want me, man, I'm here in the way. And shout out to my boy Mendoza in the building. What's going on, Mendoza?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we're going to head up out of here. I'm going to talk to you before we get off, when we head off of here. But Silver and Blue Nation, Big Game James, Star Game, BJ Nix in the house. You know how we do. We'll be talking to you soon. Go Cowboys, and be safe out there. Peace.
Yes, sir.